Hi guys, this is the advisor and welcome back to my channel. Now, you guys have heard me said a lot, expose a lot of the shenanigans of Justice Brian Sykes. And a lot of you thought that maybe it couldn't get any worse. But I can tell you, this is not just, it is about 10,000 times worse, and I'm going to tell you why. You see, we have an agency in Jamaica known as the Forensic Science Laboratory and Legal Medicine Unit. We normally just refer to it as the Forensic Lab. Anyway, that agency is a hotbed of malignancy and evil. But before going into that agency, I need to backtrack a little and give you the background on which this is based on. Now, unfortunately, I thought I could have left out Judge Sykes out of any discussion I'm having in future unless something came up bad, and it has come up. You see, on Monday the 9th of October, there was a hearing in the gun court right here in Jamaica. That was last week Monday. Now, on trial was a hoodlum called Michael Smith, a murderer, gun hawk, crime specialist named Michael Smith. Now, I don't know if any of you guys remember on October 25th, close to midnight in 2022, where two men attacked a policeman in his yard and he fired shots at them. There was a gunfight and one man was injured and he was found with a shotgun and the other man escaped. Later you might remember that. It was on news and all that. But anyway, that man who was in that incident is the Michael Smith who was on trial last week Monday. The police evidence shows that actually he was shot. I think them shoot out one of him eye. The policeman shoot out one of him eye. And him keep the gun and run away with the gun and was found maybe some distance away. Maybe about a chain or two away from the incident. I don't think he went more than 100 meters. When he fell, he collapsed and he fell with the gun beside him. Now, his contention here at the trial, because he has been in custody since last year, October, until this year, which is now October. Now, his defense is that he was just walking on the road when somebody shot him and put gun on him and said that is him did a try to rob somewhere. And he say he was not robbing anybody. He was just walking the street and they come up on him, shoot him. The policeman shoot him, put the gun on him and says him. He was the one who tried to rob them. Now, this Sykes needed, of course, to place him on the scene. So the Krasmite judge said, all right, we need the DNA evidence, we need the fingerprint, we need all of that. Where are those things? The policeman, the investigative officer, who is the main person in the case, he says that they haven't got the results yet from the crime lab, from the forensic lab. Justice Sykes then decided that, well, okay, well, you have been in here for a year, we have not gotten the forensic results yet, therefore I'm going to offer you bail. Now, both the prosecution and the investigative officer protested strongly, vigorously, not to give the man bail. They pointed out that this man was previously on a charge for murder, had been in prison for murder. He actually shot someone with a gun at the age of 15. And at the age of 15, he killed somebody, and that was in 2016. Now, he got a 15-year sentence for that crime at the time. Some people have said that he served 8 years out of that sentence, but I don't see where he served 8 years, because if he was taken into custody from 2016 and was released just in early 2022, in April of 2022, then that means he only served 6 years out of a 15-year sentence for murder. No, does anybody see anything wrong with that picture to begin with? So, having been released in April of 2022, by October of that said year, after only 6 months of freedom, here he is, used a shotgun, tried to rob somebody. And of course, this wasn't the first robbery he committed since he went out. He got out. This is just the first one them catch him pan. Anyway, Injustice Sykes wouldn't hear none of it. He decided that, well, if this man spend a year in jail and all of him forensic results cannot turn up, then this man deserves to get blame. To get bail, sorry. Now, I am kind of ambivalent on this. And I was going to come down on Justice Sykes like a ton of bricks, because you know me and a man there. You don't know how me feel about that man. Although, hard to call him a man. But at the same time, we have to give and take with Justice Sykes, that's all. And here is why I decided to give and take with Justice Sykes on this specific issue. I went and I started to investigate the forensic lab itself to see why, after 12 months, DNA and fingerprint samples cannot come back from the forensic labs. And guess what I found? Stand by. I went back to a Gleaner article of December 2nd, 2019, which had a headline, Forensic Lab Steps Up Its Game to Deal with Greater Use of Technology in Crime Fighting. Of course, it was reporting on a visit by Dr. Horace Chang and to that agency, and his meeting and being given a tour by Dr. Judith Mowatt, who is the head of the Institute of Forensic Science and Legal Medicine. In that report, Dr. Judith Mowatt expressed confidence that it is ready for the increased demand for its services now that the police are relying more on technology to fight crime. Dr. Mowatt told the Observer that she is prepared for any uptick in demand as the lab is committed to having forensic serve justice. And this is quoting from Dr. Judith Mowatt.
I see justice as the mechanisms by which society can hold persons accountable for their actions. So when justice is properly administered, the innocent will be exonerated and the guilty will be found culpable and punished under the auspices of the law. Security now is not quite the same thing, and security for me means a safe environment where people can live and work without fear of crime and corruption.
Let us look at that again. I see justice as the mechanisms by which society can hold persons accountable for their actions. So, when justice is properly administered, the innocent will be exonerated and the guilty will be found culpable and held to account for their actions. Now guys, I am no maths brain from primary school, but it has been said that mathematics is the purest form of reason. Now we cannot fool maths. If you want to know the truth in anything, use mathematics. It is the purest form of reason. You cannot do wrong if the maths is right. So let's do some maths. Now, stay with me, because this is quite simple. This is like just like addition. So this is not complex. You don't have to be a nerd to stick with this. She said 16 samples in half an hour. That means, of course, 32 samples in an hour. Now, let's say they work an 8-hour day. 8 hours times 32 samples will be 256 samples per day. 256 samples per day can be done given an 8-hour day. I'm going to use the whole machine at 16 results in half an hour, 16 tests in half an hour. I'm not even going, because since 2019 to now, the new machine must come in that can do how much 48 samples an hour. But let's deal with the old machine. We do 32 samples in 1 hour. That would amount on the old machine, that would be 66,560 results in a year. Now, I am learning that there are a backlog of over 9,000 results backed up at the forensic lab. 9,000 odd results, nearly 10,000 results backed up at the forensic lab. What we must look at this behind the background, that I have learned that it's roughly an average of 24 samples that come in per day. 24 samples come in per day to the forensic lab island-wide. That's an average. So sometimes it might be 30, sometimes it might be 15, sometimes it might be 10, sometimes it might be 5 a day. And you tell me, say, you have an average of 24 samples coming island-wide per day. Your office, in 2019, were capable of doing 32 samples in a 1 hour, which means that you could do more than the average sample that come in for the day. You could do it in half an hour. So, and you tell me you take 1 year, and can't offer the DNA and fingerprint samples for a court case. Do you know that you had the sample for 1 year? Forensic lab, Dr. Judith Mowatt, may I call you out? It has been said that justice delayed is justice denied. But you are the same one who said the leadership of the lab has also started to engage the courts to find out what cases are going to be called up and use that information to ensure that those tests are done immediately. Your words, Dr. Mowatt. And she continued, so that when the court dates are actually called, the forensic evidence would be able to be presented because the analysis would have already been done. Your words, as reported in the Daily Gleaner. Tell me if the Gleaner quote you wrong. What I suspect is going on here is that the forensic lab is working with crooked judges like Sykes to delay certain cases by not doing certain cases because people like Dr. Judith Mowatt is being paid off to suppress certain cases or give false results or just delay them so that the Krasmite judge can have a loophole on which to offer bail. Dr. Judith Mowatt, could you tell us, based on the maths that we have outlined in this post, where the Baba saying, rubbish in, rubbish out. Based on the numbers in front of me, you need to tell me which one of the numbers in front of me is wrong. Because when I use the numbers, the established numbers that I have in front of me, based on your mouth and the results that you say you can produce, the following day after you get it, that result should have been handed back to the investigating officer, Judith Mowatt. Now, Crosmite Mowatt, you need to tell us what went wrong. And I would like, if the Minister of National Security, he need to investigate what is going on up at that place, that they have the most modern technology that she boasts of. And she has one of the most upgraded labs in the world. And we have a DNA and fingerprint that cannot be had in 1 year. I hope this Crosmite is investigated and we find out who she is in cahoots with and why justice has been delayed and why they must sit down up there and peel up them one another and not doing the government's work, calling you out. You need to come and tell this nation what's going on, and I hope this post is shared so that people can see what you are up to and you get investigated, and you should be investigated by Mocha because you are obviously involved in some chicanery and it must be known to the Jamaican public. Because the day that Crosmite judges start being in a cabal with Crosmite forensic scientists like yourself, Jamaica will never have justice. On top of that, we have a Crosmite, which is our national security minister. That makes it worse. Where do we go from here? I do not know. Guys, like, share, leave a comment below, and I look forward to see you in my next video.